Step 1 is picking sword. Step 2 is using the evil British pet. The damage reduction it gives will make you live certain combos you normally wouldn't. If not, use the next best pet you have. Karn's combos are dependent on the distance from the player. He has a set of far and near combos he will use. 90% of the time you'll want to be sticking to him like glue. Starting with Karn's easiest phase, Wandering Flame. Spawns a flame on you that attacks you twice. You only use it when you're far from him, and this move is very dangerous, so you really don't want him using it. To dodge it, you jump a little bit less than 4 seconds after it spawns, or you could just spam jump and pray. The best way to dodge it is reacting to the flash and the freeze, but you can also keep track of how many times it spins around you. The timing is a little bit less than 4 revolutions. This move is very dangerous because Karn can do more combos while the flame is still on you, so you really don't want this on you. Since you spawn so far from Karn, you're going to want to open up the fight by spamming dash and lunge to close the distance, but only using as much stamina as you're comfortable with. Tyrant Revolver. Karn kicks towards you and this kick does 0 damage. Actually a great thing for us. Sweeping Seas. You could dodge this with a well-timed jump or jumping onto his head. It roots you briefly if it hits, but it isn't really problematic right now. Decapitate. This move deals a ton of damage and can take multiple lives away from you because of Karn's life bleed effect. You can dodge this with a well-timed jump or jumping onto his head, but I strongly recommend you dash twice every time you see it and jump to dodge it. At bare minimum, at least dash once, because things can go very wrong with Roblox physics and latency. Violet Viper. The last move you need to learn for this phase. For phase 1, the best way to dodge it for now is dash twice or 3 times away, then dash once to the side to avoid the spiral. You can walk to the side, but I always recommend dashing it. Karn cannot do 2 Violet Vipers back to back. He will always use Decapitate after, so you can choose to keep your distance after the spiral. The last thing to keep in mind is Karn has a set distance where he will activate his sigils. He'll stop moving during this, so you can proc this and just keep your distance if you ever want to play it safe. This phase is very simple, but it is up to you to learn these basic moves first before we get to the complicated stuff. Phase 2 is one of Karn's more annoying phases. Karn's combos are going to start to actually look like combos. There's now a different version of Tyrant Revolver alongside the original, Dark Revolver. It's a purple kick that predicts your movement, so you have to juke it out because now it actually does a lot of damage. Shadow Flame. Rising pillars with a large one at the end of the chain. Dashing once to a side is enough unless you're close to the big blast at the end, in which case you'll have to dash twice to clear it. It's not hard to dodge, but it does force a dash out of you, and the damage over time can leave your HP in a tough spot for a longer time. Dead Spike. This move is so fast you are going to get hit by it unless you're already far enough away from Karn. It applies slow and prevents HP regen. Shadow Viper. A launcher with an evil hitbox. For now, the best way to dodge it is just not being there, so dash away. You should never see his far combos in this phase, but I'll still give tips on them. For his far combos, if you ever see the Shadow Flame sigil after an arrow, just react to the direction he dashes in, then dodge to a side perpendicular to him. If he sees Shadow Flame first, then simply dash to his side and Karn will close the distance for you after. Dark Revolver Dead Spike will likely kill you if it hits, so as soon as you see these sigils, juke out the Dark Revolver's prediction. You could do this the same way you do it for a Hyperbole, just by walking backwards and dashing to his side. All the same strategies apply here, except Dark Revolver is just a little bit faster. Once you juke it, you should already be clear of the Dead Spike, but if not, dash away. Tyrant Revolver Decap is not a problem at all. You could just dash away from him after he gets close and you're fine. Or you could just risk it for no reason and jump onto his head. These far combos you really won't be seeing at all, so don't worry about keeping them memorized. For his near combos, you always want to dash away from him right before he stops moving to activate his sigils. I personally always dash twice. Fake out Dead Spike is a non-issue. You could punish Karn after it, but if you're low on HP, you should just let him activate his sigils at a distance and respond to the next combo. And this combo is the main reason you always dash away. The Shadow Viper will come out instantly and the Revolver will kill you unless you have a pet related to your HP. The only way to dodge it is just not being there. Be careful of him landing on you with Dark Revolver and punish only after he's done dancing. Phase 2 is annoying because of this. It's more about dashing away preemptively and hoping something doesn't go horribly wrong on your way out. Dead Spike Violet Viper is the second dangerous combo in this phase. Again, the Dead Spike comes out instantly and you'll just be hit unless you're already far enough away. If you are hit by the Dead Spike, dash as many times as you need to avoid the Violet Viper that comes right after. Usually 3 or 4 dashes in total will save you. Remember to hold the spacebar down, hoping you end up jumping over one of these slashes. It is difficult to get consistent at timing the jumps naturally, so I just recommend holding spacebar along with dashing for now just to make yourself a smaller target. For Violet Viper or Shadow Flame, you keep in mind the same advice, dashing away preemptively and as much as you need to, but this time, after the spiral you want to walk towards him, and a little bit after he finishes the spiral, you dash preemptively to dodge the Shadow Flame. The combo that starts with Sweeping Seas, since you are preemptively dashing away already, just keep making distance, jumping the sword if needed. You should be past the outer loop of the second revolution of the sword before he does the Shadow Viper. If you somehow get rooted, you could spam dash to get out of range. Phase 2 is definitely easy to learn, and that's pretty much it, but it can be tiring dashing preemptively every time. Just play it safe and get through the phase. Summon. Summons the Dragon Head. Redirect. Redirects the dragon towards you and predicts your movement. Marua. Augments the dragon with a saw blade that goes towards you. Black Divinity. Dragon explodes and usually misses if you already dodge the precursor moves, not really threatening. Rometa. Dragon becomes bigger dragon and smokes everything in it. Karn's only new moves are related to his summon, but phase 3 is definitely the second hardest phase to learn. A whole lot of new combos and follow-ups that require some experimenting to dodge. Starting with his near combos, if his first move is Violet Viper, dodge it as usual, but instead of punishing, keep your distance after the spiral. He'll dash towards the ghost he flashes after, so keep backpedaling. Then jump the Sweeping Seas and stay out of range of the dead spike. Then you could punish. You can punish after the spiral, but I don't recommend it for now. Just keep things simple and consistent. If you see these 4 sigils with Summon and Shadow Flame, you want to dash twice, but usually 3 times to his side from Karn to avoid the whole combo. The more you delay your initial dash, the likelihood of him tracking you is lower. If you see Summon Marua or Rometa, you can dash anywhere as long as it isn't backwards from Karn. Then you really want to dodge the Violet Viper by jumping onto his head and dashing off it after the second swing. The most consistent way to dodge Violet Viper with this method is jumping onto his head, then jumping off onto the ground over the second swing. He will always do the spiral in the same direction if you time it correctly, and you can even do this whole thing without dashing once. I strongly recommend you don't dash away from Violet Viper for this combo, and learn how to dodge it in a way that conserves stamina. If you dash away as usual, you'll waste a lot of stamina trying to escape the Violet Viper. If he starts with Sweeping Seas, you want to dash away to dodge the Shadow Viper that comes after, just like you did in phase 2. However, there are now more options available to you. You could time dashing over him after the sword starts returning to Karn to avoid the Shadow Viper. You could also jump in circles around Karn to dodge it, but this is risky. But you're always better off dashing away until you pass the outer ring of Sweeping Seas. So after you dodge the Shadow Viper with your method, you're going to want to zoom out your camera and watch Karn. As soon as you see Karn about to launch at you with Dark Revolver, you want to dash twice under him. The further away you are from Karn, the more he'll overshoot the Dark Revolver. Then keep your distance and punish after the dead spike. Now, the next combo is very similar, but to tell this combo apart from the previous one, you can see if he does Summon before Sweeping Seas. This is important because instead of dashing away during Sweeping Seas, you want to stick close to him and deal a full M1 combo without getting rooted. You really want to hit him with knockback, but if not, it isn't a big deal. When he's finishing saying Rometa, that's the cue that he's about to use Shadow Viper. You could dash over him, but again, I recommend you dash twice or 3 times away to avoid the incoming Shadow Viper. He doesn't use Dark Revolver in this combo, so you just have to stay under him and wait for him to fall down for the punish. The combo where you dash under him to avoid Dark Revolver is only 4 sigils long compared to this one that is 5 sigils long. The last combo to learn is Summon Marua Redirect Black Divinity. To dodge it, you could just dash twice in a Z pattern to avoid the saw and explosion. The most consistent way to dodge it requires you to be hugging Karn, then dashing behind him, and the saw will never reach you. You could also dodge this without wasting stamina by jumping around his head, but I strongly recommend you use your dashes for consistency. After you learn these combos, phase 4 should be doable. Again, you really don't have to learn far combos to get your first solo, but I'll still give advice on them. For any of his far combos with Shadow Flame, prioritize dodging the Shadow Flame first, then juke out the summon. It doesn't really matter what he does with his summon, all of it is really easy to dodge. Here's the full list if you want to get an idea. I really don't recommend having them memorized, but if you really have to, just be careful of these two. For this one, wait after his dash and juke out the revolver and make distance from the incoming Shadow Viper. For the other one, once you dodge the Shadow Flame as usual, depending on a lot of things, you either want to dash back into the pillars to avoid the revolver or keep dashing away. This one is his most dangerous far combo in this phase, but thankfully you'll never be seeing it because you'll be sticking to him like glue. And even more fortunate, the next phase is one of the easiest phases of Karn to learn. Dragon Bullet shoots a bullet from the summon that predicts your movement. It's very easy to dodge, dashing, jumping over it, pretty much anything will allow you to clear this move. Evil Fracture. The summon becomes a drill that pulls players in. It isn't difficult to avoid, but if you get stuck in it, it will kill. If you react fast and spam dash away from the center, you can escape the pull. Evening Shade. Karn teleports towards his summon. Shadow Riposte. An unavoidable counter that insta-kills. It is just a free damage opportunity and a chance to recharge stamina and HP. This is like one of 2 reasons why phase 4 is so easy. However, there's something important to know. His move speed while using the counter increases, which prevents you from running away, and this will create harsh setups in the future for phase 5. But for now, it's a great thing for us. Starting off with entering phase 4, Karn will always start with this unique combo. Entering phases 4 and 5, Karn has an initial combo he will use and never again throughout the run. It is important to learn how to dodge them since he is guaranteed to use them. For Karn's initial phase 4 combo, it is very simple. Make distance from Karn immediately because he'll be using Violet Viper after 2 dashes. After the spiral, you want to dash away from him, then aim your camera at him. As soon as the summon comes out, do a grounded dash to his side, then jump. You'll use counter to finish it off and punish after it's done. He arguably only has 2 dangerous near combos in this phase, and even then they are very simple. For example, if you see these sigils, you can literally just walk backwards or dash away once from Karn. And that's it, you dodge the combo. And you even get a chance to recharge your resources while he's doing his counter. And this next combo is very similar to an old combo we just learned. You dodge these 2 combos in the same exact way, by getting out of range of the Shadow Viper after sweeping or dashing over him. But instead of dashing twice under him, you're going to want to dash 3 times to dodge. This is because he attacks forward a bit with Shadow Viper, so be careful not to be caught up after Revolver. In this phase, he also has a Sweeping Seas combo where he does summon before Sweeping Seas and you dodge it the same exact way. However, instead of Dead Spike, he teleports to his summon at the end of the combo. So you have 2 options. You could dodge the last Shadow Viper and run towards his summon to position well after the teleport because you want to be sticking to him like glue. Or you could get hit by the last Shadow Viper if you don't want to waste stamina and deal damage when he picks you up. This combo can be dangerous because it does cost you a lot of stamina and puts Karn far enough away that he is guaranteed to use the 4 combo. There is something very important to know about his teleport. If he teleports outside the arena and falls off the world, he'll teleport back to his original spawn. So don't get caught off guard and aim your camera at the center of the arena once you see him fall. The next combo is something new, but as soon as you see these sigils with Evil Fracture and Decapitate, you want to dash 3 times away from Karn usually, and you're done. Very simple. If you really have to, you can jump over the decap, but really you should never be stressed for stamina in this phase because of the counters. So don't worry about conserving your stamina because you get these really big breaks in between combos where he's just flashing his counter. For this combo with Dead Spike and Violet Viper, you want to create distance from Karn, then react to the direction he dashes in and dash away. He'll dash opposite of the ghost he flashes if you want to read his path. He walks a lot before he actually does Violet Viper, so make sure to create more space than you think. This next combo, he also dashes opposite of his ghost. There's a difference between the arrows he flashes telegraphing whether he dashes towards or opposite his ghost, but I never mentioned it because there's no reason to be looking out for them because you'll naturally know whether a fake out is coming as you learn the combos. So for this combo after the fake out, you dash away from the incoming Violet, but after the spiral, you want to keep your distance and punish after the Romeda. The last combo you need to learn is his most dangerous one. You have to react dash away from the Violet Viper, then stand still at a distance and jump dash over the bullet. He summons a Wandering Flame at the end of the combo, which is why it's his most dangerous one. I swear this tiny flame has taken more lives than Fatal Howl. Again, for all his far combos, everything he does with his summon is incredibly non-threatening. Prioritize dodging the Shadow Flames again, but there's a difference between these far combos and phase 3. Dragon Bullet is a non-issue, but it is attached to these combos now, so it's worth mentioning so you can be ready to jump or dash it. There's only one dangerous far combo and another one that is necessary to teach. For the dangerous one, you want to dodge the Dark Revolver and Shadow Viper. Dodging the Revolver is the most important, but after you either dodge or get picked up by the Shadow Viper, you want to go towards his summon quickly. You really don't want him chaining another far combo after this one because you'll be close enough to you that the far combo can be a threat. So go towards his summon and jump to Dragon Bullet. If you were successful, you go back to dodging near combos, but if not, dodge the far combo and get back to the near combos as soon as you can. This next combo isn't difficult, but you do need to learn it. Once he closes space with Tyrant Revolver, I like getting on his head and dashing off it after the sword returns to him to dodge the Shadow Viper that comes after. This combo is the exact same as the one in phase 3, so after you dodge the Viper, dash twice under him to avoid the Dead Spike. Panicking because he closes the space so fast is what causes deaths to this otherwise very easy combo. Dodge it how you would every other Sweeping Seas Shadow Viper combo and you'll be fine. And you'll also be thankful you got this far combo because it closes distance for you and is really easy to dodge. I would give advice on every single phase 4 combo even though it is very unnecessary, but I still need to discuss phase 5, the funnest phase of Karn. The phase starts when Karn goes below 3.55 million HP. It is very likely the first time you reach phase 5 you'll be low on lives, but ideally you want to be going into phase 5 with full stamina, full HP, no wandering flames attached to you, and all of your lives. Having all 5 lives will give you a second chance if you do die to a certain move that takes 4 lives. At bare minimum, to get your first successful solo Karn run, you want to have 2 lives so you could have 1 to sacrifice for the infamous funeral combo. But if you only have 1 life, still give it your all because there's a lot to learn and all the practice matters. I do mention earlier in the video that watching footage of Karn to study him is one of the best things you could do, but another best thing you could do is have someone who is very good at Karn essentially backseat game for you and watch how they dodge combos you are unfamiliar with. Karn's phase 5 combos are very long and you aren't memorizing or reading all those sigils first try, so having someone literally tell you which moves are coming next in real time, whether it be through voice chat or messages, will allow you to live just a second longer to practice a little bit more without outright dying and having to restart to get that physical practice in. With all that out of the way, let's talk about 2 moves. Fatal How. Karn grabs players at a set distance, and to dodge it you either have to be hugging Karn or far enough away that the grab whiffs. If it hits, you will lose 4 lives if you don't die before the final swing of the move. Being intentionally low on HP before he does Fatal How is a viable strategy to ensure you don't wipe if he does land the grab. Nightmare Rain. Karn's most complicated move by far. Karn channels a red ring, and if any players are within 50 studs of him, it procs the second part of this move, which is a teleport at his summon followed up by a blinding dash. If caught in the dash, you'll instant kill all of your lives no matter what. This player uploaded an amazing explanation about this move, so if you want to get a good idea of how it works, the video is in the description. I also will be giving my own explanation on how to dodge this move and how I prefer dodging it, along with my own insight into how you should go about dodging it. But for now we need to learn his initial phase 5 combo. This will be your first big obstacle in learning phase 5. There are 2 primary ways to dodge it. One is very easy to learn but requires some prep time before phase 5 to set it up. The second way is difficult to learn but it will allow you to dodge phase 5 initial without any prep time. Both are important to learn, but if you master the second method you will hardly ever need the first, and it will make it much easier to carry public lobbies. Starting with the first method. Before you trigger phase 5 by dropping Karn below the HP threshold, you want to make sure you're at full stamina. Ideally, you can also drop Karn's HP during one of his phase 4 combos, so it gives you time to make distance before he does the actual phase 5 combo. Once you trigger phase 5, you want to create as much distance as you can. The more the better. Dash the Shadow Flame after Maura and juke out the Romeda. Juking the Romeda will be trickier the closer you are to Karn. After that, keep backpedaling to make sure you're at least 4 dash distances away from Karn to avoid the Fatal How. Stay at a distance of the Violet Viper without wasting any stamina ideally. Then dodge the Spiral. After the Spiral, you want to dash away from Karn and lunge if you can. Stay out of range of the Nightmare Rain and close the space after he teleports to his summon as fast as you can to avoid dealing with a far combo. This method is very safe and easy to learn, but you could probably guess that it is situational and requires some thoughtful gameplay to set it up. It is consistent if you set it up properly, but the preparation needed is what makes me dislike this method. For getting your first solo, it might be better to learn it this way. My preferred method to dodge starts with being close to Karn. Watch his sword, and once it reaches 12 o'clock, that's the cue that he's about to start going ham. So you dodge around him once, then dash in a circle back 2 to 3 times to avoid the Shadow Flame. Then you want to be patient and backpedal slowly from Karn without jumping but still be close to him. This is so his dash doesn't bug out and his movements stay predictable. A lot of people make the mistake of jumping and moving a lot, but backpedaling is the best way to avoid physics glitches with the dash. I know it sounds like I went on a tangent, but this is important to know because it will come up a lot, so while you're chilling, focus up and react to the ghosty flashes and dash opposite of it as soon as you see it. Then you want to dodge the Violet Viper using a jump method. I prefer jumping onto his head and off it over the second swing like I mentioned before to send his spiral in the same direction 100% of the time. Then I stay out of range of the Nightmare Rain and punish after the Evening Shade. This method does require a lot of practice compared to the first method, so you pick whatever is best for you. Onto his near combos. Once you see these sigils with Shadow Viper, dash to his side to avoid the Romeda in a way that sticks close to Karn. Just like before, when he finishes saying Romeda, that's the cue that he's going to Shadow Viper, so dash over him. Then watch him closely. As soon as the Death Spike comes out, you want to jump twice. This will dodge both slashes of the Violet and the first Wandering Flame attack. Dash to his side to dodge the Spiral. Close distance after the Spiral and jump the second Wandering Flame attack. You can also dash away from the Violet and Shadow Vipers, but phase 5 is the phase where you're going to be most stressed for stamina if you keep making bad decisions. Alternatively, you could dash twice under him to avoid the Violet slashes, which will consistently allow you to dodge it with less stamina than just dashing away. This next combo has a similar start, but instead of Shadow Viper, he dashes into a Violet Viper. So you dash the Rameda, but there's a problem. He dashes before he does Violet Viper, making it too hard to jump on his head to dodge the Violet Viper. So you have two options available to you. First, you could time 2 jumps as soon as he dashes and dash the spiral, or you could react to the direction he dashes in and dash away and dodge the Violet as usual. Using the second method won't really hurt if your stamina is already in a good spot, but after the spiral you want to backpedal while facing Karn whichever method you choose to give yourself more time to dodge the incoming revolver. As soon as he's starting to launch at you, dash 3 times to his side to avoid the decapitate and revolver. The next combo is one of the last combos you want to be seeing. Either dash away from the Violet Viper or react jump the slashes first. After the spiral you want to be near Karn but not too close or too far. Right here I was too far so I walked towards the summon. It is really important that you be close to his summon. Jump onto his head for the revolver and jump again to avoid the Marora. You can also tank the Sol for reasons explained here. Once you jump the Marora, you should already be looking in the direction of the Sol. If not, just adjust while you're on his head. Once the red circle dims, that is your cue to jump. In some cases, a well-timed brawl jump will be enough to dodge the dash, but you should never do this. Instead, once you're at the peak of your jump, dash to his side. Now I really wish it was that simple, but depending on the height of the summon, how close you are to it, and how early or late you time your dash, there will be things you have to adjust. But staying simple for now, my preferred method if the summon is at a desirable distance already, I just jump and dash late to ensure my dash doesn't throw off the prediction of his dash. So his dash will always come straight at me instead of at an angle. If the summon is close to me, I want to dash early to throw off his dash, then I dash back. This makes his dash go at an angle. This is called air snipe dodging, and I prefer doing it in this situation because the distance between myself and Karn will be smaller, which will give him a larger chance to hit even if I time a single dash off his head perfectly. You can do an air snipe even if the summon is far away and it will probably be fine, but there's the possibility of dashing back on top of Karn's dash if you time it too late and if you are very unlucky. If you're on the ground, an air snipe is usually much better unless the summon is very far away. For this combo, literally just stand still. Once he flashes his counter after the third dash, jump on his head and chill. Before the sword starts returning, dash off his head about 3 times. This combo is the combo you want to be seeing the most, and I don't think I have to explain why. This next combo is also very easy. Dash anywhere as long as it isn't backwards, then you can either jump on his head, but I don't recommend it. Instead, dash twice or 3 times away when he's finishing his spin. You could easily dodge this without dashing, but I always recommend using your dashes for consistency. When you see these sigils with Fatal Howl, you want to backpedal from Karn after he closes the distance. Then dash opposite of the ghosty flashes. Then you either want to jump on his head or time a jump. You could keep jumping on his head or dash twice opposite of the Sol to avoid it. I recommend using 2 dashes to dodge the Sol for consistency, but you could juke it out normally. If you see a combo that starts with Violet Viper but no Nightmare Rain, dodge the Violet Viper by react jumping or dashing away. You want to stay close to Karn after the spiral but not in dead spike range, and dash to his side once or twice depending on how far you are. Then aim your camera in the direction opposite of the ghosty flashes and dash perpendicular to him after his dash to dodge the Shadow Flame. You could also just react to his dash or dash once over him. If you somehow end up too far away from Karn after the spiral, you can dash away from Karn to avoid the explosion, then quickly turn your camera to face him. Then dash the Shadow Flame just as I explained before. Now I never mentioned this big explosion move because it literally only shows up in a single combo. But if it does hit, it won't kill usually, but it will heal Karn by 250k, so play it safe and dash more than you need to. For this combo with Dragon Bullet, react fast and jump the Dragon Bullet. You usually want to dash 3 times to his side, but sometimes 2 can be enough, then punish after. For this combo with Dead Spike decap, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get hit by the Dead Spike unless you play around it. So you just have to accept the slow debuff and damage. Dash twice out of range to avoid the decap and jump the Sweeping Seas, then you want to dash over him once the sword returns. Watch him, and once you see the revolver coming, dash under him. You'll have to dash once or twice depending on how much distance you make before the revolver. For this combo that starts with Sweeping Seas, make distance from Karn quickly. Then dash 3 times to his side to dodge the revolver and Viper. The revolver comes out almost instantly after Dead Spike, so be careful. Finally, dash twice or 3 times away from Karn to avoid the decapitate. I really don't recommend trying to jump on his head for this one, just burn the stamina you have. For this combo, dash in circles around Karn to avoid the Sol. If you're far away from Karn, make the choice of dashing in close to him to avoid the Fatal Howl or spam dash away. I personally pretty much always dash in, then I dash to throw off the Maroro prediction. For this combo, you're going to get hit by the Dead Spike, but all you have to be looking for is his summon. Chase his summon as hard as you can to make sure you don't get a far combo once he teleports. Keep in mind the Sol will come at you before the teleport. And that's it, you can now solo Karn as long as you sacrifice 1 life for Funeral. But if you're at 1 life, you have to make an attempt anyways to dodge it, so here you go. Make distance from Karn immediately. Dash twice again, Jump on his head, and if you can find his summon, face it and dodge an R. Then immediately stand still. If you can, jump on his head once he comes in flying or time a jump over decapitate. Stick close to him and just chill on his head. He does 2 counters back to back, but during the second one, you want to make a lot of space before it finishes. Once it's done, he'll kick at you with Dark Revolver, so dash it and jump on his head when it finishes. Look for his summon if you can and dodge it and R. He does the Timer Revolver, Dark Revolver at the end, which makes a Dark Revolver incredibly difficult to dodge. There are strategies to dodge it, but I recommend for beginners just hoping you're lucky and throwing off the Timer Revolver enough to dash the Dark Revolver. Even then, it's not the end of the world if Dark Revolver hit. You'll be low on stamina with a Wandering Flame attached to you, but if you gotten this far, you should be really good at getting out of bad situations like this. If you learn the near combos well enough and how to dodge the initial combo, a Karn solo will happen with enough attempt, especially if you make good decisions like sacrificing a life for the funeral combo. I was planning on giving advice on far combos, but even I don't know them. I literally just read the sigils as they pop up for far combos to dodge with muscle memory. This video has been like a month in the making and I really just got burnt out by the end of it. I like editing, but this was even a little bit too ridiculous, even for me. I did enjoy making it and I think it's best I end this guide while I'm still having fun with it, so later.